Hi guys, I just wanted to record you a super quick off the cuff unedited video because I've got a billion things to do before this baby comes. I'm just going to do a super quick video just to let you know that I am almost 37 weeks now, which is crazy. My C-section is due to be happening 2 weeks tomorrow, unless this baby comes early. So I have maximum 2 weeks and 1 day left to get a million things done. So I hope he doesn't come early. And I also want to let you know about my belly blessing, which I had on the weekend. Another way of saying a blessing way, kind of similar to a baby shower, but a bit more sacred. So I want to share with you about that, because I often have people asking me, like, what did you do before the birth last time? Did you do a baby shower? Like, how did you do it? So I've had some women ask me about that in my community, so I thought I'd make a video about it. But before I get on to the belly blessing, generally, how is everything going at almost 37 weeks? Look, I'm really lucky. I'm really, really lucky. I'm having an easy pregnancy so far, fingers crossed, unless anything changes. My blood pressure is good. I have lots of energy. People sometimes say that you get this burst of energy in the 2 or 3 weeks before the baby comes, so that you can get things done. And I think that's true, because I really feel like I have more energy. Like, I'm staying up really late. Like, baby Stug tends to go to bed very late, 10 o'clock, sometimes even later. And then I get going for a couple of hours after that. So I'm sometimes up to 1. It's crazy, but I feel like I can do it. And just getting a lot of stuff done. Like, I had the world's longest to-do list you've ever seen in your life, like the biggest checklist ever to get done before this baby comes. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I like to do it this way. I like to get a million things done before the baby comes, so that I can completely take the next 3 or 4 months off. I mean, completely. Like, I won't be checking emails. I won't be doing any stuff around the house. I probably won't even unpack my hospital bag for the first month. I didn't last time. I just want to be with the baby, be with little Star, help her handle this transition, cuddle both of them all day, feed them, look after them. And the only way for me to give myself that space for 3 or 4 months is to get as many things done in advance as possible. That means work stuff done. I've filmed a whole ton of videos for this channel, which will go out. They're pre-scheduled to go out over the next 3 months. I've set up a whole lot of automations for my community that I run for other things, other projects I'm working on. I've got everything automated to just meals in the freezer, like just everything I can think of to get done beforehand. In terms of organizing postpartum support, that's all organized now. So it means a lot of work now, but it means I'll be able to be really, really, really present when the baby is here with both of my children. And that's really important to me. I like to do it that way. Now, obviously, if the baby comes early, or if I had gotten sick in the last few weeks of the pregnancy, a lot of these things would not have gotten done. And that's just how it is. But luckily, I've been okay. And I'm trying to operate on a priority system. So I'll get up in the morning and go, if the baby was going to come tomorrow, what would I really need to get done? So, and now, because I really am at the pointy end, I'm going to be 37 weeks in 2 days. I really need to think that way. So, like, after I shoot this video, which hopefully will only take 10 or 15 minutes, I'm then going into that mode of, okay, if the baby comes tomorrow, what do I really need to get done? So my priority for today is I've got to get the rest of my hospital bag packed. Because, there's a lot of things you got to put in a hospital bag. It's like packing for a trip, but you don't know how long the trip's going to be. It could be 3 days, it could be 2 weeks. You just don't know what's going to happen with this cesarean. So you got to make sure you got enough clothes, toiletries. You got to have diapers. You got to have baby stuff. You got to have breastfeeding stuff. You got to have special things for your own recovery down there. Down there, like special disposable undies and things like that. So you just got to be organized. I'm not really preparing a hospital bag for labor this time, because I'm pretty sure I'll be having a cesarean. The only chance for me having a natural birth, the only circumstances in which I would have a natural birth is if, like, literally my body just goes into labor, and it goes into labor fast, and everything's happening easily, and I'm 5 centimeters dilated, and my baby's in a good position, and it's not scanning as being too big, and it's like the universe saying to me, this is going to be fine, just go with this, then I'll have a natural birth. But in any other situation, I'm going to go for the cesarean, because I had a cesarean last time. It's a little bit high risk to do a VBAC, vaginal birth after cesarean, at my age. I'm turning 51 in a few days. And also, I do have a mild issue of a prolapse in my pelvic floor, and I don't want to exacerbate that by pushing a baby out. So I certainly wouldn't, my pelvic floor specialist has said, do not have a vaginal birth unless it's happening really easily. Don't do it if there's an induction needed or any intervention needed, because that will be much harder work for my pelvic floor. Don't do it if the baby's scanning is being really big. Don't do it if the baby's in a bad position. Don't do it if they're having to, like, you know, your waters break and then they have to bring on artificial contractions. All those situations will not be good for my prolapse. So that's why it's extremely unlikely I'm going to do a natural birth, because we'd have to be like all the stars and the moons align. But, you know, that might happen and I'm open to it. But because it's so unlikely, I'm not really packing a special hospital bag. Whereas last time I had a special hospital bag for a natural birth and a special hospital bag for cesarean. And the natural birth included things like candles and photos of my family and special things to hang on the wall and massage balls and special oils to rub on my body when I'm in labour and all that stuff. Like, I'm not just not packing any of that. So if I end up in labour, I won't have anything, and that's fine. I'll just use the bouncy ball at the hospital and whatever. You know, it's so unlikely. So if you see a video from me in a few weeks saying I had a natural birth, you'll look back on this and laugh. But it's extremely likely I have a cesarean. So for the actual cesarean, really, I don't have to pack anything because it's a quick surgery. The only thing I will do is put together a playlist on Spotify of maybe 10 songs that I think would be beautiful to play during the birth, because I'm having what's called a gentle cesarean. I've talked about that in videos before, gentle cesarean. And one of the things about a gentle cesarean is that they try and keep the room very calm and sacred. It's not like an operating theatre where everyone's talking, chit-chatting. It's sacred. It's a sacred space, so you can play your own beautiful music. And I did that last time with Baby Star, and I had a really beautiful playlist of about 10 songs played at random. I let the universe decide what her birth song would be, and the most beautiful song played in the moment she was born. I still cry thinking about it. So I don't know if that will happen again, but I'm going to put a different playlist with different songs for him. I don't want it to be the same songs. And we'll see what song plays when he wriggles his way out of my tummy. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that today, finishing my hospital bag. And then also I've set up the bassinet. I've set up a bouncer, but I've got some other things in storage I have to get out, like the baby part of the pram, the baby part of the stroller that you put a newborn in. I got to get that sorted out. I got to clean my pram, got to get out this sort of baby dome thing that I used to put Baby Star in. Just got to get some baby stuff out and set it up in case the baby comes tomorrow. I want to have some places in the house I can put him in, not just his bassinet. And I did have some things I used last time which were really good. I think I made a video about that about 2 years ago about some of the things I used. You can go and look for it. If I get a minute, I'll put a link up here, but I'll probably forget because as I said, I'm spending the rest of the day doing my hospital bag. And, then if I wake up tomorrow and I'm still not in labour, I'll go, right, what do I need to do? Actually, tomorrow I won't have any time. Tomorrow I'm going to the obstetrician, which is an hour-and-a-half drive away. I'm also going to meet the anaesthetist and get all the pre-admission stuff sorted out in the hospital. It feels a little bit superstitious for me because with Baby Star, she came 5 days early, as in 5 days earlier than the planned cesarean. And that happened, my waters broke on the day that I drove all the way to Lismore to this hospital to meet my obstetrician, to see my obstetrician and meet the anaesthetist. So it was a double appointment. It was a long drive. And then on the way back, we went and chose a tree for her, a little baby tree. We walked around this tree farm, and it was a huge day and such a long drive home. And then my waters broke when I got home. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen again tomorrow, because tomorrow is the equivalent day where I drive all the way to Lismore, see my obstetrician, meet the anaesthetist, do all these appointments, and then have a long drive home. I'm just like, if I wake up the following morning and I still have this baby in my tummy, I'm like, okay, this is different than last time. Admittedly, last time we did that at 38 weeks. This time we're doing it at 37 weeks. So he probably won't come, but it's just me being superstitious. So then I'll wake up and I go, okay, what if he comes tomorrow? What do I need to do? What's at the top of my to-do list that has to get done before the baby comes? And I'll just do that every day until everything's done. Then there are some bonus things I'd love to get done. Like I'd love to catch up on Baby Star's journal, Little Star's journal. I have a journal that I do every day of her life, pictures of us together and things I write of her milestones. And I'm a year behind in that. Yes, I'm a year behind in that. So I'd love to catch up on some of that. But that's my absolute last thing on my to-do list. So if I get everything done in the next week and then baby still hasn't come, I will start working on that journal because I'd love to catch up a bit so I'm not a whole year behind. But, priorities, priorities, priorities. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about my belly blessing. I've already been talking for 10 minutes. How is that possible? I'm such a chatterbox. I'm sorry. I try and keep these videos short, but when they're unedited, I just ramble on. I'm just rambling. By the way, there's the tummy. Look how big it is. Please don't ask me about this belly band because I'm no longer recommending it because I'm not impressed with it anymore. I thought it was so good that in my last video I raved about it, but it's actually not good. The Velcro is coming undone all the time. The Velcro constantly comes undone and it's driving me bonkers. I'm walking along and suddenly it's open and it falls off. So no, I don't recommend this belly band anymore, but it was very good for the first few weeks. Anyway, so that's the tummy. So yeah, I had a belly blessing on the weekend. So when I say belly blessing, what I mean is it's not a baby shower. I'm trying to hold this stick thing, selfie stick thing. So it's not very good. I'm not doing it very well. It's heavy. It's a heavy thing. Anyway, it's not a baby shower. So a baby shower is a little bit more of a mainstream thing where your friends come round, everybody gives you gifts. You play pin the tail on a donkey or you play all these games and it's, there's bubbly and drinks and food and it's more like a party with sort of set activities that are usually done at baby showers. There's nothing wrong with it. They're beautiful, but it's more of a party. Whereas there's something called a blessing way, which is a very sacred, ancient ceremony that women do, and it's women only, and there's no presents and drinking and parties and food. It's very sacred, and they do a lot of sacred rituals, and there are certain things that get done, like there's like a red thread that gets passed around the room, and everyone puts a bead on it, and then you cut the thread and put it around your hand, and everybody walks around with this bracelet of this thread and they look at it every day and they think about the woman who's about to give birth, or there's lots of rituals to it and they're beautiful. And what I do is something I just made up called a belly blessing. I mean, I've heard that term before, but I made up what happens in it. It's a little bit like a blessing way, not really like a baby shower. It's kind of my own thing. And basically what we did on Saturday was really beautiful. I had about 20 women there, and most of them are mamas that I've met since I've had Little Star. A few of my previous friends from my old life before I had a baby also, but mainly mums. So we all sat in a big circle. I wore this really over-the-top kind of hippie outfit where you could see my tummy, and it was like a goddessy, long flowing skirt and the whole thing. And luckily it was a warm day. And we went around the circle and I asked every woman there to either give a blessing to the baby or say some words of wisdom for me to help me transition from one child to two child, because some of them have 2 kids and they could give me good advice, or to just say some words of affirmation to me about like why they think I'm going to rock it. Why do we think you've got this? You could do this. You can handle this, TJ. So it was really lovely. And some of them did more than one of those things. So we went around the circle. It took about an hour and a half and everybody said beautiful things, really boosting my confidence that I can handle this. I can handle having 2. Why they think I'm going to be okay, why they think I'm going to rock this. So that was great to hear. And then also some fantastic words of wisdom and advice for me as transitioning from 1 to 2 kids, especially from the women who have more than 1 baby. And that was really beautiful, and some blessings for the baby. So we did that for the first hour. Then I told the story of this baby and how he has come to be through the generosity of a sperm donor and an egg donor and the miracle of science. They didn't all know all the details of that. So I shared that, and then I shared his name, which I'm not going to share on YouTube because I don't share my children's names. We all use anonymous names. TJ is a nickname. Little Star is a nickname. He will have a nickname. Not sure yet what it will be. So I shared his name, and then I sang a song. It's tradition for me to sing a song. So I sung Beautiful Boy by John Lennon. Oh, it was really sweet. I mean, I have no voice because I've got this giant tummy pressing on my rib cage, so I've got no oxygen. I can't breathe, can't project my voice. I have this tiny little voice, but no one cared. It's about the feeling. So I sung Beautiful Boy by John Lennon. Everybody cried. I cried. It was so beautiful. And then I had said to them all when I organised it, look, being a solo mama, I'm organising my own belly blessing. That's just how it is. I don't have a husband to organise it. I don't have any family here to organise it. I'm organising my own belly blessing. And I'm hosting it, and I'm running it, I'm facilitating it. That's just how I roll. But I would love there to be 1 hour in the middle of it where I can just be, and I can just be my feminine energy, and I can just receive. So I would love it if you guys would organise a 1 hour section called Showering the Mama with Love. And I put them all together in a Facebook group, and then I left the group. I gave them that request, and then I left the group. So I had no idea what they were planning. I didn't even know if they were planning anything. They could have easily just said, no, we don't have time for that. Nothing would have happened and it would have been fine. But I said, no pressure, don't do anything too fancy. But what they did was so beautiful, and it was actually very similar to what happened in, I had a few different belly blessings last time, but with different groups of people. But similar to what some of them did last time, it was the same women. And it was so beautiful. Oh my God, it was so beautiful. I literally melted into a pool of butter in this hour. So I sat in a chair, and remember, I'm in this kind of goddessy outfit with my bare tummy and this flowy skirt and like a sleeveless top. And I sat in this chair and they put my feet into like a bowl of rose water, and then they would take turns, different people massaging my hand or massaging my other hand or massaging my foot because my feet are so swollen. My feet are really copying this pregnancy because I've gained so much weight. My feet are so sore. So massaging my feet, massaging my legs, massaging my hands, stroking my hair, giving me head massage. And while this was happening, one of the women who's an amazing kirtan singer, chanting singer, she was like playing her Indian instrument and singing beautiful music, and all the women were joining in, singing around me. So I felt like I was being serenaded by like a choir of angels. And I'm just sitting in this chair, and at one point they chanted my mother's name and I just lost it. I started weeping, like I was sobbing. And then little Star, who woke up halfway through this whole thing and was cuddling me, she was standing next to me really protectively through this whole thing with her hand on my knee. And there was these other little toddlers there because a few of the women were solo mums and weren't able to, give their child to the partner for the day, or their partner was busy and they had to bring their child. So we had 3 or 4 toddlers there, and one of them was this little 3-year-old. Oh my God. She stood in front of me and she had her hand on my belly and she was massaging my leg, but really gently. It was like, I felt like I was being healed by a child angel. I was like sitting in this chair with like tears streaming down my face, and they're all singing and massaging me. It was so beautiful, honestly. I felt so grateful. And as a solo mom, like I haven't had a man hug me, I haven't had sex, I haven't had cuddles. I've only had touch from my daughter, which is beautiful and I love it. But I haven't really had anyone hold me or massage me or touch me for the last 2.5 years. So it was really, really lovely to have that gift from all these beautiful women. And that's the gift of the feminine. Like, it's so soft, it's so nurturing, it's so loving. So I just wanted to share that with you, because any of you who get pregnant, you might, think you have to do a baby shower, which is great and fun. You get lots of great presents. But if what I'm talking about is something that sounds like it's calling to your heart, you can just organize something like this. You can call it a blessing way and look up on Google what are the rituals that people do in a blessing way. Or you can make up your own thing in the middle, which is kind of what I did, belly blessing, and do whatever you want. Ask your women to come and paint your tummy or massage you or sing you music or make food for you or whatever it is to pamper you that you would love. Say words of affirmation to you, share advice, whatever you need, you can ask for. You really can just ask for it. It's the one time in your life where people will come and pamper you and look after you and be generous. And the other thing I did, which I did last time, which was a godsend, was I asked them all to bring a dish that they had made or bought in a freezable container. And then and I asked them to label it, what it was and who it was from. And as they arrived, we just put each one into the freezer. So my freezer is now full of food. It's now full of food, probably 2 or 3 weeks worth of dinners, which is going to be a godsend. And I did that last time, and I did it because usually what happens is people do a meal train where people come to your house after the birth. Every day someone drops off another meal after the birth. But what that means is you have to open the door, welcome them in. And in my case, I live far away from anyone. So they've driven like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes to come to my house. I'm not going to then send them away. Thanks, bye. I feel rude doing that. So I would have to spend a couple of hours with them. When you've got a newborn, you don't want to feel obligated to sit with people and chit chat with them. Like, you just want to be with your baby, or I just want to be with my baby. So I don't want to have 1 million visitors coming in those first 3 weeks unless I'm really wanting them, and then I'll invite them. I'll say, hey, it would be lovely for you to come meet the baby, and then if they're free, they can come. But I don't want to have this constant stream of people bring food. Even though I'm grateful for the food, I'm very grateful for the food. So I did it this way last time and it worked really well. I just had this freezer full of food. And I'm doing the same thing now, so this freezer full of food. And the reason why that's spectacular spectacularly helpful is I have not told you this because I don't think this had happened when I made my last video. But my postpartum care plan has dramatically changed because I had arranged for my best friend to come up from the city I grew up in. She was going to fly up here when I was 38 weeks, which would be a week from today. And she was going to be here for the cesarean. She was going to be here to watch Little Star while I'm in hospital for 3 to 6 days. She was going to look after me for the following week and make food for me. She has broken her wrist and cannot come. Drum roll. Anyway, I'm not too devastated because I've solved that problem now, but there was a couple of days of absolute sheer panic when I realised this. As it's turned out, what we have done is my beautiful father, who's 80 years old, who was supposed to come before my best friend to be here for these 2 weeks now in case the baby came really, really early. He is now staying on extra for an extra 2.5 weeks. So he'll be here for 5 weeks total. And on top of that, I've told you guys I've had this woman move in to help with driving my child to daycare twice a week and driving her to her toddler activities and doing a little bit of help around the house 1 hour a day in return for free rent. And so she's here now. She's moved in and it's going really, really well. And her and my dad get along really, really well. They're both very practical, sensible, reliable people. And they don't talk about their feelings. They just get stuff done. And they're getting along really well. She's obviously a lot younger than him, but they're getting along really well. They're going to team up together to look after my daughter when I'm in the hospital. So, and I have asked, because my best friend won't be here, my best friend would have looked after her all day. She's a puppeteer. She's wonderful with kids. She knows baby Star really well, little Star really well. I didn't have any worries about that, but it's different with my dad. He's never looked after a child. Not since I was a baby, and that was 51 years ago. And probably my mum did most of it then. He would have been like a 24-year-old young kid. He didn't know anything. So it's a lot to ask for him to look after her all day. What if I'm into hospital for a week? So what I have done is my sister had this idea that I should talk to the daycare centre. She's only normally goes on a Monday and Friday, but they have agreed, they're so lovely, to book her in under their emergency provisions because they're at their maximum capacity. They can't take any extra children on the other days, but they've got an emergency provision which lets them put one extra child in. And I'm allowed to use that. So let's say I go into labour or I have my cesarean on the Monday, she'll be able to go in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so all the days. And then obviously if I'm still there over the weekend, my dad and this woman will have to look after her, but at least if I'm there longer, during the weekdays, she'll be looked after and they will only have to look after her in the evenings, which will make it a lot easier. She goes to bed earlier on the days she's been to daycare, so she won't be awake till 11 p.m. She'll probably be awake till 9 or 8. So it'll be a short chunk of time that they have to look after her. So that's a godsend. And the other reason it's a godsend is because the daycare centre are absolutely beautiful. It's a very small, loving centre. She's really formed some bonds with some of the carers there. They really know her and they're used to dealing with her when she's crying because she cries every single time I leave. She hates it when I leave. She always cries for a few minutes. They know how to distract her. They know how to cheer her up. And then she has a wonderful day. And so let's say she's really stressed because I'm in hospital. I've been in hospital for 3 or 4 days. They will know how to handle that. They're professionals at handling upset children. They got lots of toys there, lots of games, lots of other kids she can play with. It's actually the best place for her to be. But it never occurred to me that I could do that because I know that she's only booked in for Mondays and Fridays and you can't get her in for extra days there. It's just not how the place works. So I was relieved to find out they have this emergency provision. So basically what's going to happen is now my best friend can't come. She was going to cook for me while I've asked the women to bring food at my belly blessing, so I now have food. My dad and this woman who's moved in are going to look after my daughter when I'm in the hospital. The daycare centre will be there during the weekdays. So hopefully I'll only be there for 3 or 4 days and this will all be fine. But if something happens, there's a complication with the baby or there's a complication with my recovery and I have to stay in hospital longer, I feel like between the daycare centre, my dad and this woman, plus all the women who are at my belly blessing, I told them the situation. My best friend's not going to be here now because she really could have handled a lot of this. And they all said, because my dad's 80 years old and has never looked after a child. And this other woman who lives here is not family or friends and I'm not, she's not obligated to help around the clock. I mean, I can pay her to do that and I probably will. But the other mothers who live locally, who were at my belly blessing, they said, oh my God, call us, we'll come round, we'll take little Star outside, she'll play with my toddler, we'll keep her entertained for 2 or 3 hours. So I'm going to give my dad a list of those women's numbers, and if I really am having to stay in hospital longer for whatever reason, or can't bring the baby home from, let's say I have to go to the NICU, like you just don't know. We'll have that back up as well as the daycare. So I'm feeling really good about it all now. It's all sorted. Hopefully I've put enough contingency backup plans in place that it will all be okay. Anyway, so far so good. So far so good. I'm going to stop talking because I've talked for 25 minutes. I'm not going to edit this, so it's long. All right, guys. Hopefully I'll have a chance to make one last video before I go into the C-section in 2 weeks. But if I don't, or if the baby comes early and I don't get a chance to, I'll see you guys on the flip side. In the meantime, I've filmed a whole lot of videos about things you've requested me to talk about, like my breastfeeding journey and things like that. And they will go out over the next 3 months. I'll still look pregnant in them because I filmed them in the second trimester, but they'll go out. So you'll have some good stuff to watch. That hopefully you'll find really helpful. And I'll see you when I see you. Maybe before I give birth, maybe after, maybe in a few months. Over here, I will put a link to another video that I think you'll find helpful and interesting. Okay, bye guys. See you soon. Lots of love.